Whilst we wait in anticipation and in with a sense of trepidation as well for further summer transfer arrivals to come to West Ham, our academy players are being given every opportunity to stake a claim in a West Ham squad who has been lacking in quality in a number of areas since last season. Now, with the two 1 hour friendly games against Ipswich aside, the games that we played just before we went on the US tour, in which Callum Marshall scored again, West Ham's second official pre season friendly match against Man United on Saturday night, Sunday morning, has again exposed a number of areas in the squad that Graham Potter really must address before the first Premier League game kicks off in just under 3 weeks' time. Errors from the keeper, exposed in defence, not combative enough in midfield, and too slow in midfield, no cutting edge up front reminds us all just why last season was so bad. And so far, with just two defensive arrivals and the return of several players from their loan spells, we still don't seem to sort of have found answers for all those areas. Now, whilst the defense did look shaky at the weekend, at least we do have some new faces who can hopefully gel into a more coherent unit over time. But our goalie, central midfield, and striker roles are still left wanting. Now, I know many of you would argue that our defence still isn't sorted, but Potter now has three defenders at his disposal that he didn't have when he took over last January. Knifer Gerd, and then the signings of Malik Diouf and Walker Peters. Now, he's only had the last two players for a week or so, so it's going to take some time before they acclimatise and integrate fully into the squad. So I think there's more to come from those players. And I'm reasonably confident that by the time we kick off our Premier League campaign against Sunderland, our defence will be a lot stronger than it currently is. Now, what about, though, the other areas that I've mentioned? Look, if you're new to the channel, first time you're watching, or have watched me before but yet to become a subscriber, please do. Cost nothing to subscribe. All the content is free. And if you enjoy the show, please leave the like. Please hit the like button at the end of the show. So, with the lack of more signings, which we hope will be addressed this week, Graham Potter has been giving the academy players the platform to show what they're capable of delivering. Now, so far, they have delivered quite well. They've all done extremely well. Graham Potter has taken something like 8 or 9 academy players on this US tour, but they're not all from the under-21 camp. From what I can see, there's a couple of players from the under-18 camp, such as the goalie, Lanre Awesu, and defender, Aridis Golombekis. And they've joined under-21 academy players, such as Kalen Casey, the central defender, central midfielders, Freddie Potts, Luiz Orford, Mohamedou Kante, as well as Preston Fearon, and striker Callum Marshall. Now, if you add to that Ollie Skulls, who came up from the academy into the senior team last season, that makes about 8 or 9 players that are featuring in this preseason tour. Now, 8 of them, apart from Awesu, the goalie, were on the bench at the weekend. Now, as far as Kante is concerned, I was under the impression that he was going to be purely part of the under-21 squad next season, much the same as Daniel Cummings, the striker that we got from Celtic in the summer. Kante, who turns 20 in September, and is, despite not having a lot of game time at Paris FC last season, it was Tim Steiden who identified him as a potential big talent for the future. He's described as a very good passer of the ball, capable of initiating build-up play from deep. He's got excellent ball control, confident in tight spaces. He's good with his first touch, and he's very composed under pressure. He's not your flashy kind of midfielder, but he's very effective in carrying the ball forward through midfield. And as he's a more defensive-minded midfielder, he's got strong positional awareness and good tackling ability. Plus, he reads the game very well. Not prolific in goal scoring, but then how many defensive midfielders are? But he's got a great work rate. He's got great stamina. He's pretty rapid, which will make him ultimately a good box-to-box midfielder in the future. And he's mature for his age on the pitch. Rarely rushes the game. Good defense, good decision making, calm, focused, great leadership qualities. So, from on paper, what I hear about it, what I read about him, it all sounds great. Now, I'd love to see how he gets on, but I think ahead of him at this moment in time is Freddie Potts. Had a great loan spell at Portsmouth last season, and when he came on the pitch on Saturday, he looked every bit a settled-in senior player, composed, comfortable, playing those little 1-2 passes to the senior players as if he's been doing it for years. And I like what I saw in Potts and would love for him to actually start the next game against Everton instead of Rodriguez. Really want to see some of these youngsters actually be given game time from the start. And then we got Preston Fearon. He's probably gotten his chance because of the ankle injury to George Earthy. But in his cameo role against Man United, he did himself no harm with his performance. He was initially a Chelsea youth international when at the age of 14, West Ham United snapped him up in 2021. Despite his young age, he's another player who's shown great leadership skills. He was made under-18s captain when he led them to glory in the Premier League Cup final last season. And from that, he was named the winner of the Dylan Tombidis Award for being the club's outstanding academy player of last season. He's since progressed to the under-21s, where he's already made almost a dozen appearances at that level as well. And now this summer, his first senior appearance at against Man United. He's got great technical ability, creative, high work rate, fantastic for Potter to give him a bit of a glimpse of what senior football is all about, and he took it really well. Now he, alongside Potts and Irving, gave our midfield a much-needed boost. Now, I was surprised that we didn't see Callum Marshall in the game against Man United. I thought it'd be a good challenge for him to demonstrate what he might be capable of against Premier League opposition. But despite that, I'm hoping to see more of him in this tournament and hopefully maybe see something of him against Everton this week. Now, whilst I'm not expecting many of these academy players to all push through into the senior squad next season, to add at least another one, maybe even two, would be considered a success. So we'll have Ollie Scarles. I think Potts will make it. I really do expect Potts to make that permanent move up. And then maybe one other. Maybe Callum Marshall. It might be Earthy when he comes back from his injury. It might be someone like Preston Fearon. But it's good that we're seeing these academy players now and what they can deliver and to see if they can push through. Look, Marshall, for example, even if he does push through, I know he's only likely to be third choice key striker behind Fulkrug and anyone else that we get, but at least he'll be that option. And a bit like maybe Fearon or maybe Earthy or maybe even one of the other midfield, maybe even Kante might break through, to actually have them in the squad as backup rather than, with the greatest of respect to them, rather than having to rely on players like Rodriguez and Ward-Prowse, who, you know, we already know what they offer. We already know, with the greatest of respect to them, that they don't quite have what it takes to see through a full Premier League season again. You know, they're slow, they're cumbersome, you know, they play it safe. But to actually have the likes of maybe Kante or Fearon or any other midfielder from the academy breaking through and getting their chance, I think would stands in good stead. However, even if we do see academy players breaking through, I still think we need to do at least 3 more bits of business in the transfer market. We need a goalie. I like Areola, but we need a goalie. We need an attacking creative midfielder, and we need a striker. Now, the latest transfer rumors suggest that we're still in, or we're about to make a bid for, Michael Cooper from Sheffield United. But as I said on the previous show, He's not much better with the ball at his feet than Areola is. But of course, there had to be a reason for this link, and he is, of course, a Will Salthouse client. That also goes for Callum Wilson. And we already know he's a Will Salthouse client. And despite being told last week that his signing was imminent, it's gone a little bit quiet on this particular player as well. Now, look, if both Cooper and Wilson do sign for West Ham United, it just goes to show how much of a tight grip Will Salthouse has over our transfer business. And if I was Carl McCauley, I'd be asking, well, mate, what's the point of hiring me if you're just going to accept Will Salthouse players? Cooper may be a great shot stopper, but he's no better at his feet than Areola is. So I don't get that one. We all know what we think about Callum Wilson. Sure, if he becomes a West Ham player, we'll back him and was cheering when he scores. But again, it's not the vision that McCauley's been looking at. As for midfield, too many players to be linked to at this moment in time. There's wild speculation, by the way, that we're about to sell. We're about to sell Lucas Paqueta, which is not the case. The board believe he's a 50 to 60 million pound player, but despite the board stating that, it was only in response to being asked, are we going to sell Lucas Paqueta for 30 million pounds? And the response was, absolutely no way. He's a 50, 60 million pound player. So I think people have skewed that response. Just because the board have said what they believe is worth doesn't mean that we're looking to go out and sell him. But there may be another Brazilian joining us. And what we've heard over the last few days is that he's finally returned back to pre-season training after missing the first few days with Juventus, Douglas Luiz. And his agent is meeting Juve today to talk about the player's future. The player clearly sees he doesn't have a future at Juve. He wants to leave, and his preference, from what we understand, is to come back to the Premier League. Now, given that the board, when they were asked, what's our priority? Are we still prioritizing a midfielder? They said, absolutely, yes, we are. You can put two and two together, I guess, and think, well, look, Juve, the agent of Luiz is talking to Juve. You know, Luiz wants to leave. West Ham United are looking for a midfielder. I don't know, put two and two together. Look, I'd love Luiz to come into West Ham. Alongside Paqueta, that wouldn't be too bad at all. Look, in terms of Paqueta, we've been told that it's down to Potter and the player to discuss where they want to be next season. And if both Potter and Paqueta say that they're both happy, then Paqueta continues to be a West Ham player. And I think there's a lot of mischief making going on now that we're about to hear officially that Paqueta has got off with his FA spot fixing charges. People are putting two and two together and sort of trying to push the player out of West Ham. That's what happens, isn't it? Whenever we have a good player, the press are on his back, to get him out of West Ham to go to a bigger team. Look, whatever happens, without the addition of a keeper, without the addition of an attacking creative midfielder, and without the addition of a striker, I'm going to get a little bit worried that we might struggle next season. Can the academy players fill the voids in the squad? Yeah, but not necessarily for those three particular areas. Callum Marshall, I like him. Is he likely to, like I said, he'll likely be a third choice, if anything. In attacking midfield, Preston, Fearon, or George Earthy when they return, yeah, it's possible, but I can't really see them staking a claim to be in the lineup on a regular basis. Hence, we're looking for the likes of Luiz and all the other attacking midfielders that we're linked to. Goalie wise, we've got several goalies in our ranks, but I don't think anyone is ready from the academy to actually be challenging Areola at this stage, which is why we're looking for a goalie as well. Come on, West Ham. This week has got to be the week where we finalize our transfers. Three more. And I think we're ready for the season. We don't want to delay it any longer. We know Potter wanted players in before pre-season. That hasn't happened. Let's at least get them in before we leave America, at least. Look, Alvarez is back. you know, and we'll be seeing him play in midfield. I said it myself the other day. I think Rodriguez is only filling a void whilst Alvarez gets back into the stride, you know. So they're without any other players, there is a different look for our midfield. Alvarez, Potts, and Paqueta can fill those three midfield rows. Very different to Souček, Ward-Prowse, and Rodriguez. But getting a couple of more players in would be nice. The academy players, I think it's fantastic. But apart from Potts, who I think will be nailed on to be part of the senior squad next season, I'm not sure about the others, but it's great to see their potential. Right, I'm going to stop ranting, stop rabbiting. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Have a good rest of the day. Have a good week. I'm sure I'll be back either later tonight or maybe tomorrow on Tuesday. In the meantime, please leave your like. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments, and I'll see you all very soon.